#1 special occasion destination.
Stock market manipulation, environmental disaster, mass unemployment, immigration, open borders, bailouts and derivatives, mass media distraction, war. How are these things connected? To find out, join us at the Grassroots Connection, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. on WOIC, 1230 a.m.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows. That's how it goes. Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
And welcome back to the Grassroots Connection, where we provide the information you need to make an informed decision. And today we're again with special guest Rich Bolen, head of the Lexington County Republican Party, chairman. And he's been so gracious as to come in and answer a few questions. And currently we have Miss Obsidian on. I think she has another question for Rich, so let's get right back into it, okay? Miss Obsidian, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Okay, all right. Now go ahead with your question.
Too. Well, actually, it's more of a comment in light of the aspect that Mr. Bolen had made about that no other country, I think it was no other country, tends to have a bearing on various occurrences occurring here on a legal basis.
Well, I think what he said is he just didn't frankly trust them.
Well, that's understandable because, quite frankly, there is but one other country I know of that actually does have a bearing on things of a legal nature here in the U.S., government-wise. That happens to be Israel.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
as far as the government goes.
They certainly do influence a lot of our laws. That goes without question. But I don't think Israel would be sitting in judgment of the U.S. As a matter of fact, they may be co-defendant in a case brought by an international court for war crimes.
Mm.
Well, I would tell you it's a mutual relationship. We do a lot for Israel, and we give them a lot of money, and we protect them and give them a lot of hardware and technology, but they help us. They give us a democratic friend in the Middle East, the only one we have, and there is no other state in the Middle East where people actually get to vote on their government, except Israel.
Okay, you prompted me a simple, quick question. I apologize.
Okay, Ms. Obsidian, you got a lot of simple questions. This is the last one. All right.
Okay. Why all this money that's going to Israel when we need it here for the people themselves in the U.S., for crying out loud?
Well, I think that's a good question. I don't know if Rich is in a position to answer it, though, but I think he'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I'll let you go.
I've got an opinion on it, and I appreciate you spending so much time with us.
No problem.
I'm flattered that you're willing to even listen to me that long. I think that the reason we do that is because Israel wouldn't survive without it. If we didn't support them as much as we do, they would be overrun by the enemies all around them, and they are a friend of ours in a position where we don't have very many friends, so we need all the friends we can get over there.
Okay, I think that answered her question. Now, I have another question out of the chat room. This one comes from Bright Futures saying you're not reading any of my chats. Yes, here's your chat. Here's your question. What about a new investigation into 9/11, as it seems to be the impetus for all the violations of our civil liberties, i.e. the Patriot Act?
Well, a new investigation is a bit of a red herring because the new investigation wouldn't be any better than the old one. The old one, or the first one, had evidence that was only a year old or 6 months old. It had witnesses who could remember things well. It had better evidence in regards to the determination of what actually happened. An investigation now would be taking evidence 9 years old. It would be asking people to remember stuff from 9 years ago. There have been people who have died. It would be.
So you think it would just kind of cause more confusion?
Yeah, I don't think it would help clarify anything. The issues that you have with the investigation are probably never going to be answered.
Okay, all right. Now, before we move on, and I see the caller, I've got you potted up. You're on just a second. Let's see here. Are you there, caller?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hold on for me 1 second. I've just got one question for Rich in that we have 6 of the 10 people who sat on the commission, the 9/11 commission, coming out and saying that they were under undue pressure from the Bush administration to end with a certain result, and it hampered their investigation.
Yeah, I can believe that, but unfortunately, there's not a whole lot we can do about it now. I mean, we can let them tell us what they think. We could release the embargo on them divulging anything they learned or vetting, what they're saying, and let them testify about what they would have done had they not had that pressure. But
well, it kind of goes to the credibility of the findings of the commission that they were obstructed from their investigation through that administration. So I don't want to say that their investigation or the result of it can be just thrown out, but it does bring up a lot of questions, and we have victims, families, the families of the victims of the 9/11 attack that want a new investigation. It's not just us here in South Carolina, but people who really have lost their sons and daughters in that attack don't feel that commission's investigation was worth the salt or the weight of the paper that they printed it on.
Well, unfortunately, that's a frequent outcome in mass situations like this. You hear it about the Titanic, you hear it about the Hindenburg, you hear it about a lot of things where you say, there's something more to that, but that may be true. There may be, but we'll never be able to divulge that from the information we have. The best shot we had at figuring it out was back then.
Well, I guess, and I'm going to just make this real quick. I know we got a caller out there. I'm sorry, man. But look, this is the bottom line, Rich. Okay, let's cut through the crap. Bottom line, if we have 6 of the commissioners on the 9/11 Commission saying that they were under undue pressure from the administration, isn't it reasonable, just reasonable to say that it's possible we need a new investigation? And I know your position on that. What I'm asking you now is, if the new investigation was brought up to a vote and you had the opportunity, would you support it or not? And that's pretty clear.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with another investigation. The more we know, the better.
Okay, good. Now, caller, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, now it's your turn. He's a nice guy, isn't he? I mean, he took that really well.
Well, I wish I had tuned in at first. I was busy work. I just heard Obsidian, their last comment, and then something about why the U.S. government should support Israel. And I think if Israel wants the support of the world, not just the government of the USA, they need to start respecting the human rights of the Palestinians whose land they have invaded. Of course, they're going to tell you God gave it to them. And, stop tearing down their homes and building walls and integrate like this society is integrated. I mean, just think of what, the civil rights thing. We've gotten our society integrated. Well, those Israelis try to integrate with those people and let them go to the same schools and stop shooting their kids in the streets if they want to make friends and not have enemies in the Muslim world. Those people worship the same God that Christians do, and they love Jews and respect them because they're taught that way by their religion. And if they would stop treating those Palestinians the way they do, there would probably be a lot less animosity in that part of the world. Now, I don't know which angle he's taking, but if he's taking the idea that we should support a nation that's behaving like, they accuse Hitler of behaving, well, we shouldn't support those people. If we should do anything, we shouldn't give them a blank check to go in there and do all the stuff they're doing in the Middle East.
Well, caller, it seems like you're wide open there, and what I'm trying to do is get you to phrase it in the form of a question, something that Richard could reply to, kind of seek his teeth into a little bit.
Well, I'm glad you got somebody on there. I don't know which Richard this is. I know you've got one of them that's a Zionist that calls in and thinks Israel can do no wrong.
No, this is Richard Bolen. He's the chairman of the Republican Party for Lexington County. He's an attorney and has his own law firm in Lexington County. He's been gracious enough to come in and just kind of give us a little perspective of where he's coming from.
Well, the main reason the government of the United States supports Israel is the media influences us to vote for the government we get, and guess who owns most of the media? So if that was the question, I'm going to give my opinion.
Oh, okay, no problem there. But so your question to Richard is...
Oh, well, really, since I didn't tune in, I don't know what is...
Well, he's just answering general questions. And the reason we have him here today and we're asking him generalized questions, taking all comers, is we're looking at possibly a Republican majority in the Senate or the Congress.
Well,
And I'm saying, if you guys get power, I want to know some certain things, like what are you planning to do? What's your position on torture? What's your position on Israel? So, just phrase your question and he'll answer it.
Well, good, and I would like to let him know that I'm sorry that we don't have a one-party state here. I wish we had a choice, because when the Republicans get in, no matter what they promise us, it's the same thing, whether it's Democrats or Republicans. They all support Israel. They all go along with the agenda of the last government. Look at Obama, and I hope if the Republicans do get in, they'll try to save the space program. But anyway, there wasn't a question there. I'm sorry. It's just I don't.
You sound like you're a little upset. I understand how you feel.
I don't even consider we got a Republican Party or a Democrat Party. We only got exploiters up there that are lying to us. Look how George Bush lied us into the war, along with the collaboration of the media. Does Richard approve of that? I know the Republican Party is solidly for that.
Well, I will tell you. There is a strong sentiment across the whole country in line with what you said. There are a lot of people, and you see them in the Tea Party organization and Barack Obama's declining numbers. You see people are not happy with the two parties the way they are. They basically are two shades of the same thing. And there's a lot of people that feel that way, and I think a lot of these upstart unknowns that are winning are reflecting exactly what you're saying, that there's just been more of the same the whole time.
What do you mean upstart? Don't you agree with us?
No. I'm talking about the candidates, like Christine O'Donnell and Miller up in Alaska. These people that you never heard of, that no one ever heard of, but they're winning. Because people want new people that aren't just the retreads that we've had for the last 40 years, either with an R after their name or a D after their name.
Yeah, well, is the Republican Party going to do an about-face and stop supporting the war that the American people hate, regardless of what the media tries to make us think? I mean, you'll never... I told people, vote for Ron Paul. He's the only one that's going to win. He's the only one that doesn't support the war. And, it's really... The Republican Party and the media didn't even let Ron Paul have a breath of fresh air. They tried to damn him and condemn everything he said, and then wouldn't even let him on the end of the debates. If you want to win, you got to get a man like Ron Paul.
Well, we'll see.
Well, I guess we'll find out, won't we? I think you got at least your opinion in how you feel out there. Maybe not a great question, but certainly I think anybody who was listening understands where you're coming from. Okay?
Well, about face Republican Party and make like you're real Americans and support, what's good for this country, and just don't get your nose in the ground for Israel.
Well, I think Richard heard you anyway. I'm wondering about the rest of the Republican Party. But keep in mind, now, Richard is not part of the Rhino Republicans. I think he's more of a Tea Partier under that nice shirt and nice suit. He's got a liberty streak in him. So I wouldn't typecast him as the old Republican Guard.
Well, I don't think those Republicans, the mainstream Republican Party, is ever going to accept the Tea Party or Ron Paul or anything that will really do our country any good. When they get in, it's going to be the same old thing as George Bush and his predecessors and Read My Lips and all those people.
Well, they'll accept them when they lose at the election, at the ballot.
Well, let's hope we can kick them out. But with the media brainwashing American people, we're going to get exactly what we've got ever since.
Well, caller, let's bring him in and ask him the hard questions. That's what we're attempting to do before we put him in office. And I appreciate you calling in and giving us your opinion and your questions. I know you hear the music. We're out of here. We got about 5 seconds.
Good show. Thank you for coming, Richard.
Thank you.
All right, man. Bye. Call us again tomorrow.